Hello, hello, hello. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our week 13 design reveal. We are going to make a barrette today. Hey, Janelda. Oop, got my volume on in the background here. So today we're going to make our barrette, and we're going to use clasps in our barrette, so that'll be interesting. And we are going to do our drawing for our March giveaway. Thanks all that participated and post on our site for that, and I'll show you what I'll be giving away when we flip the camera over. Hope you guys have had a great week. It's the weather's been pretty good here, up and down. It cooled off again, which is okay. But you know, things are starting to bloom, so that's very exciting. And I want you all to get excited about my desert blooms this year. So I am going to start sharing my desert blooms with in our group, which if you're watching this live, you can connect below. Hey, Lorraine. Thanks for joining me. Anyways, I want you guys to get excited about desert blooms because we're going to do a lot of desert themed stuff this year. Like I said before, the new deck that's going to come out, which I need to finalize. The theme is going to be Desert Southwest, and it's going to be all about the beautiful natural things in the Desert Southwest, as well as a lot of the culture that is based here. Now, I consider the Desert Southwest, the primary states are the Four Corners states, or certainly Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah, because that's sort of Indian country. A lot of people don't consider Colorado Southwest, but I always felt like it had a lot of cultural influences from the Southwest growing up there. You know, certainly there's a lot of Southwest influence in Texas, as well as Nevada and California. So, you know, you can define it however you want. The point is, it's going to have stuff that is represented by, like I said, the natural beauty in the Southwest, as well as the cultural stuff. And I plan to have, this is another thing I'm excited about, I'm going to put together a bead mix, and I'm hoping to get a lot of those lovely colors that the cactus blooms come in, and so it'll be my cactus blooms bead mix. So we're going to work on that. I'm really excited about that. And I'm also going to come up with a metal mix this year to go along with this theme. So it'll have some Southwesty style, you know, charms, beads, and all that stuff in it. So that's all to come. I don't have a date for it yet, but it'll probably be this summer sometime. We'll see how quickly I can get that stuff together. But in the meantime, it's bunny season, right? So I know Lorraine and Janelda have got your bunnies on order. So, and Lorraine, I think yours got delivered yesterday. So, yay. And hopefully we'll get some more people to play along with this. I did post this week. I haven't put it over to the group yet. I need to do that, but on YouTube, I did post the how to make a bunny video, just in case you need a refresher, in addition to your written instructions. So, I know you guys can probably make bunnies, you know, blindfolded, but anyways, that's out there. I know I promised the pig video. I'm working on that one. I don't know why I've been slow, but you know, I had to get all the taxes done and, you know, all that stuff that happens in the springtime. So anyways, that's where we are with that. So that's the coming thing. I'm also going to work on a couple of other kits for you this year, and you know, and I'll reveal those as times get closer. Oh, you made it. Okay, great, Lorraine. So, all right, I'm gonna flip this over, and again, my camera is like showing like it's really far away for some reason. Oh, it focused in a little bit. We'll see if it stays. So first thing I want to do is do the drawing for the giveaway, okay? So I don't forget. So we're going to use my random picker drawing. And we're going to do what we started last time. We're going to go through until the first person that comes up twice. Now, Lorraine, I left you in here. Technically you won last month, so you're really not eligible, but I went ahead and left you in there. And then we have Janelda and Patricia that both did things. And so what I'm giving away, I put together some beads to make some little Eastery kind of earrings. I'll throw in some ear wires in there, but I just thought that would be fun. So, all right. So let's go ahead and pick and see who comes up first. All right, Patricia. Let's pick again. Janelda. Oh no, it's Janelda again. That's all right. Sorry, Patricia. You did come up again. So it's funny, my thing didn't pick Lorraine this time. So Janelda, you are the winner. Let me flip this over to Facebook so I can see the comments. All right. Hopefully you guys are, this isn't too slow. I definitely have a delay here in my video, so hopefully you're not too far behind. But anyways, Janelle, they'll be tucking that into your package, your order when I get that together this afternoon. So just a reminder, today we are going to make a barrette. I got my bunnies watching me and my disaster of a workspace here. We are going to use lobster clasps in our barrette, so that's going to be really interesting, right? Has Patricia ever won? No, I think this is the first time Patricia posted. So if you want to pass it to her, you can do that. We're going to use tan, and we're going to use split rings, which is another interesting thing in our design here today. And then we have to design with family birthstones or favorite colors. So I decided to go for favorite colors, and I am just going to use my husband's and mine, which are blue. His is blue, mine is turquoise, so we're going to turquoise, teal, depends on how you... All right, I will pass it to Patricia then. Thank you, Janelda. I try to make it random because I don't want, you know, people thinking that I am, you know, cheating somehow. So. All right, so I have to use tan. So let's start with looking at this. So I basically have two different kinds of barrette blanks that I have. So, you know, this one is great for people with thick hair. And it's very easy to, you know, make really neat things on it. And we had used those in the past. And then we also have the clip style, which work fine. We've used those for both hair beads and to make a barrette. So, but I am going to use the big clip style today. And I will show you, I have a split ring and a lobster clasp here. So we will pull those out as we go along. Now, I have a split ring plier, which is nice when you're working with these tiny ones, but you do have to be really careful that you don't knock it out of shape. And that's why the split ring plier is nice. Now, I went ahead and attached a split ring to a piece of chain and then to the lobster clasp. And I went ahead and put that on there just because it's kind of a pain to do it, so I didn't want to do it twice on the video, but we can do that. I am going to wait to do that until later. So for my tan, I had these metal beads out, but I'm not sure that I need them. So I thought, you know, for tan, I have a lot of earth-toned gemstones. So I pulled out these coins. I believe this is wood jasper. So it's got a variety of things in it, but I think I'm going to like cut this apart and I'm going to just pull out some of the ones that I consider very tan, okay? And then I pulled out some crystals. I have some dark blue ones and some turquoise-ish ones. These are both from, you know, Friday Night Lives with Stars Beads. I suspect since these ones do not have labels on them that they are from her nights with Suzanne, but as opposed to the Thunder Polish labels. But anyways, you know, blue and turquoise always go together, right? So let's and then I am going to use some soft flex wire. I have some 22 gauge wire because, you know, somehow you have to connect it on. So you have to either use thread or, well, you could use glue, but I'm going to use wire. So I think it holds up a little better. So, and I did not make this ahead of time. So, you know, we're totally winging it, people. So, all right. So I'm going to take out, you know, move out some of these darker ones, and we'll just use, like I said, really ones that I just think really speak tan to me. Let me keep some of these ones with nice texture in it for a different project. So I need about, since these are still on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Yeah. So about 8 will fit on this. Now, those of you that got these with the Sun and Sea deck, this one's a little bigger than the ones I had in there. So they do come in different sizes. You can easily get those at, you know, any of the craft stores that sell beading stuff. I'm sure Walmart sells them, Amazon, you know, all of those places you should be able to find. I'm using the more neutral beads on here because since I'm adding the color, I just want to keep it simple. These brown beads will be great for some other project, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I said I needed 8, so there we go. Got my bunny dish out because, you know, it's my Easter tradition to use my bunny dish to hold my stuff. So, and then let's pull some of these beads off too. Oh, these ones are done with some thick beading wire. I'm just gonna pull a few of those off. Thinking like 10 of each color out of work. If any of you guys make barrettes as part of your beading stuff, where's the, whoever tied this one did really good at hiding the knot. There we go. I wanted to leave that knot so I don't have to tie 2 knots on there. I'm hoping these colors work well enough together. We'll see. Yeah, I don't remember where I got that dish. I either got it at Michael's or, oh, you know what? Actually, I might even have gotten it at the grocery store or something. I don't remember where I got it, but yeah, it was super cute. So, all right. So I'm going to use some 22 gauge wire. You could certainly use 24 gauge. I wouldn't use particularly thick wire because you need to wrap it. So I am going to, first of all, I'm going to straighten that end so that I can get those beads on there. And then I will cut the wire once I put these on here. So you guys decorate for Easter around your house? You know, I still decorate for holidays, even though it's just me and my husband. You know, we don't have kids or even, you know, company coming over to look at any of our decorations, but you know, it's all fun for us. So what I'm gonna do, let's double check that this is the right number of beads. Okay. So these will be laying across the top. And I'm just going to wire it in to one end, and it really, since there's holes at both ends, it doesn't really matter which way I go. So I am just going to wrap around the end of this barrette so that so it doesn't go anywhere. So I'm gonna, you know, just kind of crush that down, and then we can lay those beads on there. Now I probably should have wrapped it the other way so that it sat over that hole, but I'll leave it a little loose. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just give myself, I want at least enough wire to go back, and then I'm going to be wrapping it, so I need a little bit more. So I'm going to do like maybe twice the length here. And then you'll see what how I'm going to add in these other colors, right? So I'm going to put this through the hole, and this time I am going to go from the outside, okay? And just pull that kind of tight, so make sure that those sit on there okay. And then I want to start adding, I think, beads in these holes. Now, the question is, do I just wrap this as is and then use a different piece of wire to put the other beads on? That might work better. I don't know. We'll see. All right, now, you know, you could certainly open this up just to give you a little more space in here to wrap this. So, you know, you do have to be a little careful that you don't end up making it so that your the opening gets stuck or anything, right? So, but otherwise, there's really not much you need to do. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and try putting the beads on. So, I'm thinking all right, for this end one, I am going to put this bead on, then I'm going to come back up through the hole so I can tuck that in nicely there. All right. So you do have to be a little careful with your wire to get that bead where you want it. So I was thinking I'll put like one color across one side and one color across the other side. So let's go ahead and put a blue one there. And then I'm going to come back up through the hole again. So I think now I will just wrap under here, and since I came back on that side, we'll see if I have enough wire to do this. We'll see. There. So, you know, I want to hold this in where I want it to be. And you know what? I think now I'm going to go over. Never mind. Hey, Marianica. Thanks for joining us. And I'm going to put that bead on, and then I am just going to wrap this underneath and see how that looks. So I want the beads to sit off to the side, so I do need to kind of hold them in and pull. All right, so this one, now I need to come up through the other side. Or the inside of the barrette, since I'm moving down. It's a little awkward, so maybe, you know, I probably should have wrapped this down and then done a separate thing with the other beads. So, you know what, the nice thing about wire is I can go backwards. So I'm going to take these back off, and we are just going to wrap our gemstones on here first. And I probably don't have to go around everyone, but I think I will. So for this barrette, you know, you want to go in between the connection. So you want just to be wrapping around this top part. And I don't know if I have enough wire. We shall see, but I'm going to use my pliers because it's... and I just broke off the side of my barrette. Hopefully I can get that back on there. Apparently it's not my day for my project working here. We'll find out. All right. Let's see if I have some thinner wire available. All right, so I apparently do not have enough wire. So there's your learning lesson, is you need more than twice, right? But we will end up with a wire there, so I have faith that this is going to work, right? And I'm just going to adjust all those in there. I'm going to trim this before I end up poking myself with it. And let me look real quick and grab some thinner. Don't have antique copper in the 26 gauge, but I have regular copper, so we will continue. And, you know, I originally used copper because I thought it went well with the tan. And yes, I know the bottom of the barrette is silver, but most people are not going to see the barrette. So I'm just going to cut a long piece of wire here because I'd rather have too much. Thanks, Lorraine. Yeah, it's like one of those days, right? Sometimes things don't go exactly as planned. And I also just realized that I covered up the holes, which I was going to hook the lobster clasp into, so we are not having a the best of luck here today. We didn't really think about our design. But anyways, okay, I'm going to connect my new wire in through the hole here, which is a little harder to see now because we've got the stones on top of it, but with the help of your pliers, you can make it work. I also could just wrap it around this other wire here. Maybe I'll do that since apparently it does not want to cooperate with me right now. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing, but all right, I'm just wrapping the end of this new wire around the existing wire so I can tuck it in. And remember, now we want to make sure we put our beads on this end as well. So let's see how that works out. It's kind of easier to work without that the bottom part of the barrette there, but I will have to get it back on at some point. All right, now I am going to try to thread this through. There we go. Through that hole in the barrette. And I want to hold it kind of off to the side. And I'm going to do the same thing with the blue, so it looks like what we did on the other side. All right, this thinner wire is much easier to use, so that's good. We'll get this tied down. Come on. I don't know why my wire is stuck. So, you know, sometimes the nice thing about wire is you can pull it pretty hard and it shouldn't break, right? All right, so now I can come tie this one down that we hadn't quite finished. I am going to go all the way around, and then we are going to try putting the beads on the side. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to go all the way around before I put the other bead on, and I'll show you what this looks like. The good news is probably people aren't going to look that close to a barrette, right? In your head, unless they're standing behind you in line or something. So now that I have that first layer, the gemstones tucked down, I may not go around the bottom of the barrette. I may just go around that wire. We'll see if that works better. Yeah, I don't like that my wire ends up showing. Now I suppose you could have done like taken the gems or the crystals and put them all on and then gone down the one side. Maybe that's what I need to do. We're making this up as we go along today, in case you couldn't tell. We're on the blue side. So we are putting the next blue crystal on. Now, you know, as you're playing with this wire, see I got a little knot in my wire. So let's see. I'm just going to use my flat nose to gently get that out now, because it could break. Don't want that. All right, let's see if we can get this to work. So we've got that on there. And I think then if I come, you know, back over and just continue down the one side, maybe it'll look a little better. This is not, yeah, see, it ends up being going the wrong way. I am going to try to get this wire so that I'm coming up from underneath rather than, or going down between things instead of from the top. I know, you guys have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just sitting here and I'm trying to make something work today. All right, let's take a look at this once I thread this through. Yeah, it's a little sloppy, but you know what? We're gonna just keep going because I've committed it to it this far, so we'll see if we can get something that looks good. I am going to take this wire underneath. No, that won't work. I came out at the wrong place. You know what? I am just gonna try and go in with my original idea. I'm ending up with a lot of wire showing, so if you don't like wire showing, that could be a problem. If you're trying to emulate what I'm doing here today, which I would say you may not want to, since it's not going very well for me. But you could certainly do, like I said, one strand at a time, going down one side. I don't know if smaller crystals would have helped. I would have used, I was going to use like some turquoise beads rather than the crystals. All right, my wire got twisted again. Be careful how I'm yanking on that, I guess. All right, I'm going to pull that across. I'm thinking if I wrap it twice, that seems to help. So I'm going to try to be careful so I don't put a kink in my wire. It's always a problem with the thin wire, and if you're working with a long wire. I just threw my bead across my workspace, but it actually landed somewhere I could see it instead of on the floor, which they usually disappear on the floor. Okay. All right, I'm just trying to make a little colorful edge on my barrette here. Although I was, you know, the neutral was fine. As a matter of fact, when I was getting things out, I was like, oh, you know, tan, you know, isn't necessarily one of my go-to colors, but then I was like, it's a perfect way to use some of these really neutral gemstones. And then I realized that I had to add colors to my design. So fortunately, turquoise and blue go with everything, right? That's why I always say, you know, the turquoise and the I don't know what they call it, pool blue in clothing a lot of times. I think those colors should always be available because they work on almost everybody and with almost every shade that you might wear, put with them, right? So my, you know, certainly my Desert Southwest theme for this coming thing will incorporate turquoise as being something that you should use. I wanted to put together a gemstone mix of what I consider as, you know, things that you see a lot in a lot of like Native American designs. Some of the stones and stuff are kind of hard to get these days, so we'll see. I do have, you know, a limited number of things that could work. So we'll see if we end up doing that. All right. So we have our gemstones on here. I'm going to see if I can get this to stand up. Although it probably really won't matter in how it looks. Yeah. Well, you know, every once in a while you have just a crazy crazy project, right? So apparently this is going to be one of my crazy project days that you know, well, we'll see what this looks like. All right. So, yeah, I mean, the colors are good. I can certainly, you know, continue to wrap back just to make sure things are on here nice and tight. And then we need to figure out how we're going to work this this lobster clasp and split ring into our design. Now, probably what I should have done was put the split rings in the holes on the ends of the barrette before I put this stuff on. I'm just using up my wire here. So let's see how this how this comes out. All right. All right, there we've got that on there. So what I was originally thinking is that I could clip this on one end, and it does look like, you know, I can probably get it through that wire. And then I was going to just wrap this chain around for an additional decoration. So we'll do that, but I need to put the other end of the chain on. This is, I don't know, it's like 4 inches of chain, maybe. About 4.5 inches of chain, so it was leftover chain from other projects. So split rings are these double rings, which are sort of like what we create when we're doing the feet on the rabbit, right? They can be a pain to open, and if you're not careful, you will misshape them, especially the smaller ones. So, you know, these are basically the things you use for your key ring. They do make these split ring pliers, so it has a bent nose on one end and a point on the other. And it is an easy way to kind of open this a little bit so that you can get whatever you're trying to put on there started. So I'm going to go to where one side where one of the openings is, and I'm turning it sideways with the pliers so that I'm separating those two rings. And if you are like most women out there, you probably use your fingernails for these things. all the time, right? And then your fingernails are all messed up. I'm going to put the chain on here first because the hole for the clasp will end up sitting where the opening is. And I can actually do these two things at the same time. So once I have that chain on there, then I'm going to put the lobster clasp on there. Right. So I have both of them on that one end, and so then I'm just going to take a pair of pliers and I'm going to gently just kind of turn this ring so that eventually I get to the point where it's all the way on there. So now I have my split ring holding onto the chain and to the lobster clasp. And the great thing about split rings is it's like using, you know, it's harder for them to break. Now, you know, obviously this isn't something that's going to get a whole lot of stress on it, but my thought when I was like, well, you know, I could go ahead and use a lobster on my barrette is that I could add, you know, I could just hang it like this. Let me see if there's, I can attach it to the wire here. So, you know, if you're wearing this, you know, you just have a little chain embellishment hanging down. And, you know, the other thought is you take one of these ends off. You could certainly add something onto that chain. Oh, thank you, Lorraine. And the other thing is I can, you know, stick it through there and I can just wrap it around and have, you know, just a little added decoration here. You know, I'm not saying you should necessarily add chains and lobster clasps to your barrettes, but, you know, it happens. Okay, let's see if we can get our barrette back together here. Yay. All right, and it still closes, so here we go. We have our barrette. We used tan, we used our lobster clasp, we used our split rings, and we used our favorite colors. So I'll have to put it in my hair and take a picture. But that's what I came up with today. So hopefully that wasn't too crazy to watch. I apologize. You know, I apparently was not on today with some of that stuff, but you know, it's like I said, it's not horrible. You could certainly play with that, and like I said, I think the chain hanging down, it's kind of a fun thought, and you could certainly add, you know, I thought about putting dangles on the chain, you know, just to make it something more ornate than your usual barrette. So, you know, you could hang charms. You could do that across the barrette anyways, but anyways, there you go. That's how you can incorporate a lobster clasp into your barrette. All right, well, thanks for joining me today. Again, if you want your bunny kits to get to you before Easter, I need to have them mailed out before by next Friday. I could potentially mail them the following Monday, but that's when I'm headed to California. So we'll see how that goes. But so I'd like to get them out to you before that. So get your orders in. Like I said, you can always comment on this video, on the post. And the video is now posted, just a reminder video of how we make them. I made one of the purpley eared ones on the videos. So those are out there. Thanks all of you again for your orders, and I'm looking forward to bringing you some new stuff this year. So I do need to work on that. I'm also, like I said, I don't have a place to store like the old videos, so now all the old videos are being taken down by Facebook. Any of the ones before this year, all the last year's ones, I have 90 days to do them. I'm choosing to do more of a, you know, the ones that have a particular tutorial that's something that's very unique. I'm kind of refilming those and putting that tutorial out on YouTube so that, you know, it's a little more focused. It doesn't have all the other chattiness of our live videos. But again, thanks for joining me, and you will see more of that stuff out there. I will be back on Sunday, regular time. All right, thanks, Janelle. Thanks for joining me. If you haven't already, please join. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube. It's Desert Cat Creations. As always, I appreciate all of you, and I'll send you some hearts and send you on your way. So have a great day, have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Sunday.